Today, I have a phenomenal surprise for you. Actually, I did set you up earlier this week and told you that Lars Strandridder would be coming on board. And here he is. Lars, how you been?
Good, thank you. Thank you, Rennie. Thank you for having me on.
I think what you and I are going to spend most of our time on is really the other EVs, just to understand them and to help our listening audience understand which are likely to be the winners and the losers, who's doing well now, who's talking a good show, who's not. Well, speaking of Mercedes, let's take a look at the European luxury car segment. I know you also on your show you kind of love to chide these folks as well. I suspect that you're in your heart of hearts, you're probably a big fan of Mercedes, BMW, and Audi. But let's talk about Mercedes. We'll do one segment here on the three of them. So BMW, Mercedes, and Audi. What's going to happen with these folks?
Oh yeah. They have a special place in my European heart, and yeah, Audi was my brand when I was a young kid. I was like, oh, the Audi A5 or the Audi A7. I thought they were so beautiful, and kind of the dream cars. So it's kind of tough seeing them having such a tough time, because I thought they would do much better than they're actually doing. Because when I saw the Audi Q4 e-tron for the first time, it's like, oh yeah, great, a decent EV, decent range, decent charging speed, why not, let's go. And it has an Audi badge, so who cares, right? But that's not actually selling very well, but the waiting list are long. So again, I think it's a production problem. But Mercedes is they grew 125% in 2022, so that's a good headline, but they still only make like 117,000 EVs, so it's easy to grow when you're not that big. But they are also shrinking. They only about 2 million now in sales. So I think the Germans are probably the ones that are worst off, because their biggest markets by far is China and Europe. Mercedes has, I think, about 1.4 of their 2 million are these two markets.
Okay.
And they are going all in on EVs right now. And Mercedes has 5% of their EV production. So and they're actually struggling a bit in China as well. We saw Mercedes drop the price of the EQS like $30,000 last year to get some momentum, but they are not selling that many. So also because China is also very good at making luxury vehicles. There is the Hype High, I think it's called. I made a video about it, but it's a different kind of name. But I think it's Hype High, it's called. But a very luxury vehicle, and can do a ton more stuff that the Mercedes EQC or the Tesla Model S can do. Is really very futuristic. But it costs less than the Mercedes EQS. So I think they're going to have a really tough time getting back into the Chinese market. They have been really huge in China in the ICE field. So, but I think they're really going to lose the ground now. And they are not scaling up fast enough. Even Mercedes, they want to be fully electric by 2030. So, but they're not that big. So, yeah, it's going to take some time, but yeah, I think they're really going to struggle.
All three,
yeah. And I think Audi is, I can't remember, also around 100. Yeah, they just broke 100,000 marker this last year. Just got over 100,000 as well in EV sales, and they are about 1.6 million in unit sales. So I think they're going to be beaten by Tesla, maybe already in Q1 of this year, but definitely when the year's over, Tesla will be bigger than Audi in unit sales, no matter propulsion.
Right.
So yeah, that's really going to be a Tesla to Audi, and I think BMW, they kind of lack the focus we talked about with some of the other players, because Oliver Zipse, he is like all over the place and saying some weird stuff once in a while. And they are also betting on hydrogen now.
Wow.
So they don't have any hydrogen cars now, but in 2025, the new black will be hydrogen cars.
I see.
Because as he says, it's the most efficient way to transport renewable energy. I'm sorry, but that is just some of the most stupid thing I have heard lately. Because, hydrogen is probably one of the worst batteries. Many people think it's an energy source, but it's actually a storage system. But
right.
yeah, it's probably one of the worst battery in the world. And he thinks is one of the best batteries in the world. So yeah, I think they're wasting a lot of money and time, but I think they are blinded a bit by their success with the ICE vehicles, because they do have still earn a lot of money on their ICE vehicles.
Yeah.
And I don't think they believe it's going to go as quickly as it will. Now we talking about 2027, right? Where we think it's pretty much all over. So and they are talking about they're going to make ICE engines for the next 30 years. Like, sure, who is selling to? Who will buy that car?
Where will they get the gasoline?
Yeah, and the parts for those cars. And yeah, so I think actually BYD could probably be the one that suddenly and very badly drops off a cliff here, because Mercedes kind of already have a pretty big lineup of EVs ready with the EQA, the EQB, the EQC, the EQS, and also the EQS SUV now, and so on. So they have a lot of lineup, and it's not like you say, it's decent cars. People that like luxury and love Mercedes, they will buy them and probably be pretty happy until they get to the charger that doesn't work. But but until then, they're going to be pretty happy with their electric vehicle. And Audi is, they have even been out saying themselves they don't know if they're going to survive the next 10 years. So they have been pretty open about it. So that's pretty good. But they have made some decent electric vehicles, and Audi is a strong brand as well. But they also want to go there quicker than BMW. I think BMW is holding themselves back, and that's going to really give them a big slap here in a couple of years when their ICE sales are just going to drop out of the sky. Because who wants a expensive M3 series that runs on gasoline when you can get the performance Model 3 or Model Y that will beat them around the racetrack? Right.
So I think some of those smaller companies, we might see some of those combinations, which has been happening already, of course, over the years. But maybe a Stellantis comes in and buys a BMW or something. So real possibilities of combinations. Lars, again, lovely to have you here. Hey, everybody, go to his channel, sign up for his channel, sign up for his Patreons, follow him on Twitter, do all that stuff. I'll make sure all of that information is in the information below. And, you can like this channel too, if you kind of liked what we just did. And Lars, see you again soon, we hope.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Randy.
All right, great.
Click the link below to get your paperback, Kindle, or audiobook now.